All right, everybody, welcome. I'm so excited. Heather and I just had a coaching call. Like we just got off. I had to do an earring change and now we're back. But I'm so excited for this interview today. I want to introduce you all to Heather Fisher, who is the owner and mastermind behind Core Studio St. Paul. It's Core Pilates and Yoga, right? Is that the name of
Yes.
the business? Yeah. Yeah.
Core Pilates and yoga.
That's what I thought, in St. Paul, Minnesota. So one of my Midwestern babes. And yeah, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. I mean, Heather and I have been working together straight for about almost 5 months now because Heather came into the Thriving Studio Owner program, that 3-month program, and then hopped right into my 8-week Get Your Studio on Its Own Feet container, and is now actually going to be joining the mastermind in a few months, which is super exciting. So, we have a couple people watching. So if you're watching on the replay, tell us where you're watching from. If you're watching here, just give StreamYard your permission so that we can see your name and your questions or your comments for Heather, because what we're about to share is cray cray. It's totally insane. So Heather, you want to tell us a little bit about like your sort of your entrepreneur journey in, a very short, like few sentences, but like who you are, what you do, and like why did you even look for a coach? Or maybe you didn't even look for a coach. You told me that my Facebook ad just popped up for you.
Yeah, I was not actively looking, but I was like internally looking.
You were like, I need help with this.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've owned my studio. I bought the studio from the previous owner in 2016, and I had been teaching there for a couple of years prior to that. But he recognized right away that I was like super hungry and ambitious and all of that. Like I kind of just knew when I found Pilates, like I'm going to teach Pilates and I'm going to own a studio. Like it didn't make any sense at the time, but like it was such a strong knowing that I just had to keep following it. So the first couple of years of owning the business, there was a lot of internal work I had to do just on like getting everything sort of up to speed as far as processes and stuff. It was very like laissez-faire how the business was when I took over. So and just learning as I go, there was so much to learn. I had no idea what I was doing at first. I did a couple business coaching programs, but they were really focused on like pricing and all of that, which was great. Like I needed that piece too. So that was good. But I found like the internal work was sort of missing from a lot of those programs. So they were like, start advertising. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm advertising yet. Like, I don't know what my message is. I don't know who my audience is, So when COVID hit, obviously we shut down like everybody else and started doing stuff online. And that had been actually a thing that I've been super curious about because I always just felt sort of a calling to do more online offerings, but I was so busy in studio that it was very back burner. So I was kind of forced to just try it and start doing it because that was literally the only way to go at that point. Because our physical space was shut down. So we started doing that and it just took off. It was very successful. And then when I found you, it was sort of, I was in the point where the beta test of our online stuff, I was like, I'm ready to like solidify this and make it something that can be a recurring revenue stream, but I have no idea what I'm doing in that phase in the online realm. So I just needed some help. I think my main question at that point was just like, how do I price my online offerings? Like what structure can I put around it? Like all of that stuff. So
I'm actually remembering right now that on our very first call, like it might have even been on your enrollment call. Like we were like, we are working on this pricing menu. Like we did it in like lightning time in like the first 7 days of working together. You went live on it.
It was like the first day because I was already gonna like roll out new pricing and like a membership.
I was like, hold your phone, wait.
And you're like, can you wait a week?
I was like, let me just tell you a couple things. And then, and then you rolled it out. So for you. So, and y'all need to know that like Heather in the last 5 months has, what did you just share with me? That you've doubled your recurring revenue since last year. And now that people are starting to come back, or at least thinking about coming back now after the second shutdown for you, you're at like something like 8K a month in recurring revenue, just like without lifting a finger revenue.
Yeah. And most of our old clients have not even come back into the studio yet. So
right.
This is all new clients, or, our old former clients, I shouldn't say old, our former clients doing this new product that we're offering. So it's something that I see is just going to keep growing as our former clients come back into our space and start to get back into the old swing of things. But they all love the virtual too. They want to do both. So
yeah. I mean, at the last couple of weeks that we've been talking on our coaching calls, I really feel, and I know you feel, you're on the verge of like really big, like about to have a huge influx of people wanting to come into the studio, really hungry for your reformer classes and your private sessions. And you're like on the verge of scaling, it's like, and you've really laid the foundation in these last 5 months. Can you, I want to talk about money mindset. We are going to talk about that, but just for a hot minute, can you share with my audience here, like the epic amount of foundation you've been laying for this scale that is you're on the verge of? Like, tell us like just the Cliff Notes version of all the systems and structures and team and like inner work that you've been doing to do that.
Yeah, tons of inner work just to, I don't know, like just to even step into this new lane, and a lot of it has been battling my like inner control freak, my inner perfectionist, and also the person who thinks that I have to like be doing everything and be everything, or else like my studio is going to fall apart if I'm not there 24/7. And so like letting go of a lot of that and letting my teachers kind of rise up and take more responsibility, and even just like empowering them to step into more roles or whatever they want to do. But I have also hired and have been training a manager, so she's like taking things off my plate, and started like monthly staff meetings with my staff, and that's been huge just to get them more in the loop. And what they've kind of turned into is just a place where like we're talking about things that they need to grow as people so that they can be great instructors, which like I'm a coach at heart, like, so I love giving them some of the strategies that I've used to kind of like get through a decade of being a Pilates teacher, finding success that way. So those changes definitely, and then like we literally changed the space around to make things work better for our in-person, and like just prioritizing having like a front desk and a front desk staff, and like I don't know, just totally breaking out of what the former space and business model and everything was. So it feels like a lot when I talk about all of the changes that have happened. I know. But now I'm in this automation zone where I'm automating and delegating. That's sort of been my like for 2021, like the first 6 months of this year are going to be about automation delegation. So like
automation and delegation, I love it.
Train someone or automate it, or train someone to do it, and like off my plate. So
I've been really thinking about like inspired by you and just watching you do your thing these last 5 months. I've been really thinking about how you, in order to prepare to scale, whether you're scaling via, for you, it's like scaling via serving more people at like, on these more volume offers, like the virtual classes, the reformer classes, the privates, but then also, you and I are talking about creating a high-end offer too. You can scale by not serving more people, but like serving at a higher level and charging more. And you're actually about to do both, which is amazing. But like, but I've been thinking about how it's like infrastructure and like inner structure. It's like you have to create like the systems in your business to like get it standing on its own 2 feet. But then you also have to do all this interior rearranging in order to scale. So that's actually a perfect segue to what we want to talk about today, which is like you had shared with me over email the other day that one of the biggest shifts, like world altering shifts, has been like this, so what did you call it? You called it daring and subversive, like shining up of your money mindset during COVID. So can you tell us about the before Heather money mindset and the now Heather money mindset? Like give us a picture of what that looks like.
Oh my God. Like, I just want to say, like, I was like Scrooge, where I was like holding my bags of money. And just like, no one can take it away from me.
Oh, really? Like hoarding and holding?
Yeah, yeah. Like, definitely have a lot of scarcity and like, you know, really resistant to trusting and like the abundance of and the energy, the energetics of money. So feeling into that has been really profound. And just like trying to allow for more trust, more support, because I realized how much my stuff around like hoarding was like, I'm afraid that if I don't hoard onto it, that like the world's going to crumble and I'm going to need it or something. And not just trusting that I'd be taken care of or that I could ask for help or, you know, that more would be flowing in. It's like there was no trust that more would be flowing in. So I was just holding on to what I had.
Wow.
So yeah, so clearing all that, and that's like deep. I don't even know if that's mine, but I'm clearing it anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, so now it's like, I don't know, something about investing in coaching and making like pretty large investments in the business, not only there, but like all the work that we did on the space itself, which we did when we were closed over Christmas, and just investing in all these like technologies and the
new members, your new operations manager, that's like a big deal, really big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And investing in these like monthly staff meetings and all that. But it's funny because I've noticed each time I've had these moments of panic and I've just told myself to like get in my body, like trust. It can't flow in if it doesn't flow out. And then like this has happened 3 times now where I'll like check my email and there'll be like a grant awarded to me that I applied for like 6 months earlier.
Like $10,000 in your bank.
Yeah, here's $10,000. I'm like, this is crazy. But it always comes after I have these like severe moments of panic, and then I like just like have to really tangibly find that grounding and that trust, and like trying to sort of invite this new mindset, this new way of being in, and kind of feeling that. And then it's just like as if by magic, it's just like ding, there's $10,000. You know?
I totally relate to that. It literally happened to me last night where I was like, I kind of caught myself in like a lack mentality last night. And I was like, oh, what am I doing? You know, like this is not where I want to live. And so I put it in my prayers last night. And then this morning in my morning meditation, I was like, please clear this like lack mentality. And then I came in and I opened the sales report for the studio and there was like an $8,000 day yesterday. And I was like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. You know, but like if I hadn't caught that lack, who knows what would have happened on my sales report. You know?
Yeah. And it's almost like you have to do the trust and belief first. And you don't know that it's going to manifest in anything necessarily. Like you and our like brains can't even conceive of how that's going to show up. But like just sort of like releasing that to the universe and letting it provide. So that's
it's so confusing. Like it's so illogical and confusing and also delightful at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, wow, that was amazing. That was much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm much more comfortable making investments, big or small, I guess, now in my business. Mm-hmm. And I've just been seeing like how that's paying off because of the energy I'm putting in the business. Like it was like a thirsty plant before, and now I'm just like watering it, and it's thriving and it's growing, and you know, it's great.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. That's so amazing. So like, if you had any piece of advice around like somebody struggling with their scarcity money mindset, or like, you know, it's interesting because like yours manifested as like hoarding, and that is one kind of version of it. My personal like MO for a long time was like, I was actually really good at calling in money, but I would push it away really fast too. I would like spend it before I could even let it accumulate. And I feel like those are such interesting different ways of working with scarcity and working with like a poverty mentality and kind of not being worthy of money, you know, like there's all those different layers. So like if you had advice for anybody who was watching this, who is navigating some of that, they're starting to recognize that they have a pattern, like an unhealthy pattern around money, what would be like the baby step that you would tell them to do or coach them on?
Yeah. For me, I had to start small in that I had to notice where I was hoarding and just see if there's like little ways to turn the faucet up. Like, you know, go from a drip to like a steady flow. So just in, you know, in small ways. So I feel like there's always going to be a couple small investments that you can make on a regular basis. And it could sort of be like a laboratory for this experiment, like kind of see it as an experiment and be like, well, I'm just going to start investing this $50 a month in this and just see what happens. And, you know, but then I will say there's something to be said of taking the leap and making a big investment in something that you know is going to directly, you know, affect your business or whatever it is you want to see improvement in. And just sort of taking the leap, because I do see this correlation between like big investment, big payoff.
Totally.
And yeah, and I've seen, you know, there's something with the price tag that correlates to the energy flow. So I found like when I have made the biggest investments, it's just like opens up the energy to flow in the direction, you know, that I'm investing towards. So I kind of have been playing with both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Small, like baby steps and big steps. Yeah. I mean, I feel it's interesting. Like there's two things I want to pull out of that is like, one, I feel that my people that work with me, first of all, they always know that it's going to work. Like they know immediately, like you did, you saw the Facebook ad, you probably barely even read it. You were like, I want to work with that chick, you know? And like, that's so amazing. And it says a lot about you that you trust your intuition that deeply. But most of my clients do. It's like, they tell me that they have an immediate physical reaction of like, oh, I need to work with her. And they don't really hesitate, even though I don't charge low fees to work with me, you know, it's just kind of like scary. And then you just do it. But the second thing is that people start getting results the second they say yes to the investment. It's like, it's an energy thing. It shifts it holds them accountable. It helps them know that they're fucking serious about monetizing their soul mission on this planet, you know? And like, it's crazy to see how when you like put some skin in the game and get really serious about it, how it immediately shifts things for you. Like it starts rearranging things so quickly.
Yeah, it is very non-linear and not illogical. So like my brain's very logical in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, so it's been hard for me to wrap my mind around that, but I've seen it to be true so many times. And just like what you said, being held accountable and having skin in the game, like you're going to commit to this thing, like you're going to commit your life force to this thing. And sometimes you have to put the money behind that to like, to be ready to invest your life force. I don't know. There's something about it that really makes us kind of like put up or shut up, you know?
I know. And I just want to acknowledge, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I think if I had been at that point when we first started working together, because I'd had those like dark nights of the soul where I'm like, do I just want to be done with this? Like, am I ready to move on to like a different thing altogether? I was sort of like, I had moments where I was like, maybe I'm done with my studio. I don't know, because COVID has been rough and everything's been crazy. But I think like because I was like willing to take the step into the first program that we did, it was sort of like my inner knowing being like, no, you're not ready to give up yet. Like, and me sort of validating that by being like, okay, well, I'm just going to be all in even more than I was before because, you know, there's no going back now. I'm just going to commit. So
that's interesting because I find that's so interesting that you're saying that, is that like that act of making that first investment in the 12-week Thriving Studio Owner program was you being like, no, my inner higher self is like not ready to throw in the towel. Because I feel like that's a subtle difference between I'm just going to do this last thing and then fuck it. You know, like, cause I've had people make investments with me in that state, and now I can recognize it and go, oh, you're not in a good state. Like, I don't even invite those kinds of people into my programs anymore, because if you're at a place where you're like, okay, this is the last thing I'll try, it means that you're not going to get results. Like, you can't be in a place of like, I'm ready to give up and I'll just throw some money at it and see if it works. But that was a subtle shift. Like, you were like, I'm not ready. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take this even more seriously.
Yeah. And I think like I might have, if it was a last ditch effort, I might have thrown $500 at the problem. But, you know, I think you're sort of in a mindset at that point where it's like, yeah, you have to really look at, is it worth this large investment in my sole purpose, my calling? I just need a little help to pull it out of me, or, you know, some structure or some accountability. So yeah, which is exactly what I needed.
And it's a crazy that everyone watching this wants to know how much money I charge. So let me just tell you all that my programs at this point are between $2,000 and $50,000, just depending on which one I feel is the right container for you. So that's what we're talking about here. It's not small amounts of money. You know, it's like, you know, my newest $2,000 one is only 2 weeks of coaching. You know, it's like very short. So it's making a commitment to, like, this is what I'm here to do, you know, and that's what Heather's been doing. So I want to acknowledge that on Friday, you made your biggest financial commitment yet in business coaching, as far as I know, and signed up for the 9-month Purpose and Profits Mastermind. And can you tell us, like, you just shared with me that yesterday you finally booked a flight to Florida, which has been one of your dreams, to have location freedom. Like, what has, in the last 4 days, what has started to shift for you as you're stepping into that?
Yeah. Well, the booking my trip to Florida, like, was just great, in that it sort of showed me that there is life after COVID, and like I can see my family again. So it's nice to have that to look forward to. But it was weird that, like, how that just sort of arranged itself into being. Like, I'm not paying a cent for this trip, so which is insane. But yeah, it happened. It worked out 100% without me having to really do much. So that was cool. But yeah, I think since Friday, even, like we talked in our previous call about how I'm just sort of like dreaming into this whole new space for my studio, like taking it bigger so that it can welcome in more people, but keeping sort of the flavor of what we do, which is very like high touch, very individual, and trying to figure out a way that I can program our offerings in this kind of new way. Yeah, so it's interesting, because I'm feeling like it's all of that is gonna, like, the business is gonna be so different than it was before we closed, and I just see so much expansion and just serving more people, and being able to like cultivate this staff of like awesome teachers, because I already have a pretty great staff, but I just want them to feel very supported and doing more, and doing everything that they like doing. So yeah, I think, and I'm very excited to see what happens with the other stuff that I'm interested in, and pulling that into some other offering. Who knows what that's going to be, but I know we'll address that in the mastermind too. So.
Yeah, we will. And I know, like, it's been fun to watch you as you get more time leverage and are not teaching quite as much, which I know is on the table for you right now. You're like, oh God, am I supposed to be like not teaching at all? Maybe. But I've noticed, and you've shared this with me many times, that like your creativity is turning on, your intuition is turning on, like, because you're allowing yourself to receive more spaciousness and really start moving out of that altitude of doer into manager and coach, leader. Like, that's where you are starting to dwell. It's like your creativity is turning on, the revenue streams are like showing up in your mind like so fast, you know, and it's just, it becomes so much more fun running a business at that level, right?
Yeah, so much more fun. And like the old model, I'm done with it. And like, I don't see it helping anyone in our industry. Like, it just seems like this, I don't know, hamster wheel. So So I want that not only for me, but for like everyone who's in our industry who's doing these like very heart-centered service type things that have such high impact. Like, why are these people working themselves into burnout and exhaustion and not getting compensated for what they're worth? Speaking as one of those people for so many years, you know? So I just want to create a pathway where all of us can experience that. Not only us that are doing this work, but like I want to lay something down that other people can just track into, you know?
Beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, now you've just described my entire soul mission here. Is like, this is not okay. Like, this is not okay. And there's a different way. And you're right. It's a new paradigm. It's not working from the same place, you know, of like hard work, self-sacrifice equals success. No, that hard work gets you to a certain point, but then you have to do things differently if you want to get to your next level. And in my experience, that doesn't change. Like every time I feel, ooh, baby, there's a next level, I realize, oh, now there's something new I need to embody, because what got me to this level isn't going to get me to that level, you know? So,
Totally.
yeah, amazing. So y'all, I want you to know that I have a couple of private coaching offerings right now. I have like 2 spots in my 8-week Get Your Studio on Its Own 2 Feet coaching container that Heather is actually currently in right now. And I have a couple of other things, 2 spots in my VIP high ticket launch program. Yes. And then I have 2 spots just today for a 30-day private coaching experience that's on top of the retreat that I'm running next week, which Heather's coming to, the Nervous System Freedom Retreat. But enrollment for that ends today at 5 p.m. So message me if you're curious about any of these coaching containers, and we can talk about it. I can send you the application and some more information. And Heather, can you tell folks if they want to like cyber stalk you, where they can find you on Instagram or on your website or wherever you want to send them?
Yeah, sure. So our website is Core Studio St. Paul, STPAUL.com. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram if you just search Core St. Paul. Core Pilates MN is where you'll find us.
Because we changed that, remember?
Yeah, we changed that.
I love your IG feed. It's so pretty. So pretty.
Oh, good. I sort of dropped the ball for a bit, but I'm getting back.
Yeah, baby.
So yeah, so that's where you can find us and catch up on what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Heather, and I'll talk to you next week on our coaching call. Let me know if you need anything in the group. And thank you, everybody, for watching. This is such a fun interview. Have a great day.
Bye.